Welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, created and hosted by Scott Knudsen, to explore the crossroads of horses and business. On today's show, Scott visits with head of equine studies at the University of Montana Western, Oily Else. Now here's your host, Scott Knudsen.
Hello and welcome to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. I'm your host, Scott Knudsen. Thank you so much for joining us today. Whether you're listening to us on the radio on KCAA, the NBC affiliate out in California, or watching our podcast on one of our platforms, we really appreciate it. Today we have a very special guest. Oily Else is on the show today. She's a two-time National Rodeo Coach Collegiate of the Year. She's in the Montana Cowboy Hall of Fame, and she's also chair of equine studies at the University of Montana Western. Oly, thank you so much for being on the show.
Well, thank you, Scott. I'm really excited. I'm glad to get to see you again.
Absolutely. So Oly and I had the pleasure of meeting Oly in Montana, in Dillon, Montana, at the University of Montana Western, and with the Montana Center for Horsemanship, the conference not too long ago of Horse, Human, and Nature. And that was just such a special deal. You were on a panel, and I got to do my thing, and I met you there. And I was really honored to meet you. So thanks for coming on.
Well, thank you, Scott. And you were the host, and that's a big thing to be the host.
Thank you
and,
so much.
A lot of people there, and you kept the discussion going. So that was really a good thing.
Thank you. It was just such an honor. I'll tell you what, I just enjoyed myself so much. I sure did. So let's start with the obvious question. So where did you get your nickname, Oly?
Well, my real name is Iola, and there's a lot of vowels in Iola and a lot of vowels in Oly. And my little brother couldn't say Iola, so the best that came out was Oly, and that stuck.
There you go.
And so I've had it for a long time.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. And everybody knew you, and just people would wait to say hello to you. And it has to be such a special feeling.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Scott.
Yes, absolutely. So being a two-time, collegiate national coach of the year, did you ever plan on that, or how did you get to that level and being in the Hall of Fame?
It was kind of default. I ended up with the program as the faculty advisor, and we had a heck of a run. We did really well. I'm real excited, Scott. I have with me, and I'm giving it back to him.
All
but
right.
I have with me, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the Pendleton number for Ruger Piva. And he won the Pendleton Roundup in 2017, and he gave me his actual number, and it says Letterbuck right on there.
Oh my
And
goodness.
I'm giving it back to him, and I'm going down to watch him. He made it to his first national finals rodeo.
Oh my
yeah.
goodness.
So I'm pretty excited. So I retired from rodeo in 2018, and have been the liaison with the natural horsemanship program all the way through, and I still do a lot of the advising and meet with the recruits when they come to Western. And you were talking about a potential student that might be coming to visit.
Yeah.
Well, she'll meet with Eric and I.
Wonderful.
And tell them about our program and tell them what we do. And it's a one-of-a-kind program, and I'm so excited to be a part of it. And I'm, as we would say in the horse world, Scott, I'm getting long in the tooth, but I'm still, I'm so proud of watching this program grow. So I've had two loves. I've had the rodeo team, and when I retired, I started putting everything I could into the horse program.
That's just wonderful. And I can't wait to talk about it. That's why I was so excited to have you on the show. So growing up, were you involved in rodeo, or is this?
I grew up over the hill, and we're in the southwest corner of Montana. And over the hill is, there's a little place in Idaho called Tendoy, Idaho. And I'm from Tendoy. And my mother was the postmaster and had a general store. And we had some sheep and horses. And so I always loved horses. I'm one of those horse lovers.
Absolutely.
And so it wasn't, and then I got into rodeo. I was a former Miss Rodeo Idaho, and we went on, and I came to school in Dillon. Loved Dillon. Loved University of Montana Western. Back then it was Western Montana College. And after I received my master's, I came back and I taught here at Western. And so when I met Mr. William Kriegel, and he was talking to me about this thing he called natural horsemanship. And I wasn't quite sure, Scott, I won't lie to you. I wasn't quite sure what it was. I'd been to a Ray Hunt clinic, and, I'd done a few things like that. And I thought, well, I want to see what he wants to do with this. And he said, I'd really like to have a degree in this. And at first, Mr. Kriegel's a visionary. And at first I thought, what would a degree in natural horsemanship look like?
Right.
But it is a Bachelor of Science in Natural Horsemanship with option areas. And we have option areas in science. A lot of kids go on and become veterinarians. We have an option area in business, and many of our students get a double major. And their life might change. They might be in the horse world. As you and I both know, it's a 24/7 world.
Absolutely.
Sometimes your life changes, you have a family, but they've got the business degree to fall back on as well. A lot of our students do that. We also have a psychology option, and we have a lot of kids that take that, and they work in equine assisted psychotherapy. And then we have the instruction area, and we're finding out more and more that our students are going out there and they're actually teaching horsemanship and teaching people how to work with horses. And there's a real need for that. And I was really surprised, but there's a huge need for that in the industry. And actually, we had talked to the American Quarter Horse Association, and they said to us, we had a meeting with them, and they said, this is an area we need people that are actually going to teach. And so that's when we added the instruction option, and we have a lot of students that take that.
Very.
And they're placed immediately. So
I
there's a market.
Absolutely. And y'all were the first in the country, I believe, to teach natural horsemanship with a program like that.
Yeah. Yes. This is the only program in the country. And we have kids, students that, a lot of them maybe will take business with just the management option.
Right.
And we have students that have graduated with, one of our students that took just the management option, and I was so excited, is Taylor Nargang. And Taylor is one of the marketing people for Ariat. And he's doing really, really amazing. One of our other students, Megan Nargang, his sister, Megan Taylor now, she's with AQHA on membership. And so, our kids have gone all over the place. And we have this last, 2 years ago, we had 4 of our students make it into vet school at Washington State.
Wonderful.
And last year we had 2. And, for a small college, we're getting kids into vet school every year as well.
Productive college. Productive.
Yes. My own daughter's a veterinarian. So, yeah.
Congratulations. That's great. That's great. Yeah. So Lazant's method, is that part of the natural horsemanship program?
What did you ask me, Scott?
The Lazant's method?
It sure is. And the Lazant's method, William actually developed this method, Mr. Kriegel.
Right.
And we teach it's based on all of the clinicians over the years, basically the Dorrances or Ray Hunt, all the way through. There's we've established the Lazant's method, and we follow that, and then we put a huge emphasis too, Scott, on herd behavior. Right. And that's William has had a book that was translated in France. A little tough to read in French, so thank goodness he translated it. And we use that book for my herd behavior class. And, you and I have talked about the horse sale
Mhm.
that we have.
Absolutely.
And so what we did, let's see, I think this will be our 12th sale. We were invited by Montana State University to participate in a colt sale that they had. Well, we didn't have any donations. We didn't have any colts. This was at Christmas time, and Eric and Hoffman, our lead instructor, were like, "Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?" So I called Don Harrington at that point in time. I had timed a lot of rodeos, and Don was a rodeo announcer. Don and Shirley, very dear friends. And I called Don and visited with him, and he said, "Oh, yeah, I'll donate a colt and we'll get started." And we went to the Holland Ranch, and Chad and Verna Hall had donated some horses, and then we went and Cal and Berkey Herb donated horses. And so we had these donors, and we have lots more now. But at first we started out with 3 donors,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, it was a big thing. And we actually have a class. We call it Sales Preparation 1 and 2. We're on the block system, Scott, and with the block system, a lot of our students will take a morning block, and then they're double blocking with the sales prep class working on their colts. So we get the colts usually around the 1st of October,
Right.
and the people bring them all in, and then they bring their papers in. The students do all this. We have a class that coincides with this. It's called Events Management, and one of the instructors, Melanie South, teaches the events management, and I help her out a little bit here and there. But basically, what we do is the students, they do everything. They do every part of it. They do the catalog, they compile the papers, they write the descriptions on the horses. We put on this event with the sales prep class and with the events management class. And it's one of the best teaching experiences that you could possibly have, because you're putting on a major event. Last year we had about 450 people that attended.
Wonderful.
Yeah, well, and it was our first year in the new center, the Montana Center for Horsemanship. It was our first year in there for
Beautiful
the sale.
place. Yeah.
Well, it's been a work in progress, Scott.
Absolutely.
Every year it gets better,
Yeah.
but we were just happy to get bathrooms, so I won't lie to you, and a
Oh,
little
my.
bit of heat.
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
but going back on with this, so our donors have stayed with us.
Mhm.
We go out with the herd behavior class. We get to meet the mares. We observe the foals. We get to watch the yearlings. We get to watch the 2-year-olds. We get the 3-year-olds in sales prep. We get to help wean. We get hands-on experience, writing descriptions, taking photographs for AQHA. This is in herd behavior. Actually, getting to watch a mare and a foal at the most stressful time of their life.
Right.
The baby being weaned, the mare losing the baby. And so a lot of hands-on experience, and it all ties together. Our culminating event is the horse sale. And this year it is April 2nd at the Montana Center for Horsemanship, and it starts at 1 o'clock.
Wonderful.
So yeah, we're really excited. But it's funny how it just all worked out with the natural horsemanship program, and there are some wonderful horse herds in Beaverhead and Madison County that are real close.
Wow,
All registered quarter horses. Yeah.
Scott will be right back with more from Oily Else.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Today, we're going to talk about something I'm really passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. Those that don't, now you know I do. And we've been working on this for several months, and we wanted to get it just right. And we don't put our name on anything unless we feel 100% certain it's the best product we can get. And we've done it. I really believe we've done it. We've created a coffee line, 13 great flavors. I'm going to show you 3 of them. We have K-Cups in all 13 flavors. Here's a Jamaican Me Crazy. It's just a really great coffee. Everyone has great logos. It has a brand, the same brand that's on our horses, our trailers. You know that brand means something, and we wouldn't put it on here if it wasn't good coffee. We have whole bean. This is a great Honduran blend, and it's a whole bean coffee. We have whole bean in all 13 flavors. And then we have a ground coffee. This is a really great one. My wife and I really like this a lot, loved it. So we named it after our daughter, Hades Blend. Everyone has the packaging and the logo of the show, our brand, and I hope you like it. I really believe you will. And we're going to have more flavors coming out soon. We're going to have the pumpkin spices, and then we're going to go to peppermint after that. And please send us your suggestions as well. You can find it at cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Think coffee shop. Cowboyentrepreneur.shop. Thank you so much.
What breed? So when we talked the other day, you were in the field with students winging horses. So, and what can you explain to maybe somebody listening that's never been around horses? What does winging a horse mean?
What was I doing, Scott?
When we talked, you were in the pasture and y'all were winging horse. Y'all were separating them.
Oh, we were weaning. Yes. Okay. You know, you and your Texas accent.
Man, I do have an accent, but you know.
Well, anyway, we were invited by Mark Harrington, who was one of our founding families, Don Harrington and Shirley. We went up to the Grasshopper, which is out in the Big Hole. We went up to the Grasshopper, and it's probably 20 to 30 miles from campus. And Mark ran all the mares in, and we separated the mares and the colts. And then Mark hauled the mares down, or turned the mares back out and hauled the babies over to the ranch, and we've gone and checked on them. To see how they were doing and if they were eating. And it gives our students a chance to really see just how stressful weaning is when you take the baby away from the mama.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a great experience, but we were up in the hills, and it's Mark had to run them in, and a lot of big country out there, but it gave our students a chance we wormed his mares. We had the opportunity to worm his mares. We took pictures for AQHA. They want, the 4 views, the front, the side, the back, and then complete descriptions on all the paperwork. It was a great hands-on experience, but basically weaning is separating the foal from the mother.
So with the students, you immerse them into the industry. Does somebody, say if they're listening to us on KCAA or watching our podcast, and they're like, I've never been around horses, can I still go? Or this is something I might look at. How could they get involved with this program?
Well, call admissions. We would love to have you come. This is a hands-on program. And it fits in this block system that I was talking about because, you're immersed in the industry. You're actually out in the field learning the methods that different people use. And it's not everybody that gets a chance to be where you've got a lot of experienced horsemen that can actually teach you, and that's so important to have, some of the people that have been in the industry tell you what the pros and cons of raising horses. There's injuries, there's all sorts of things. And so we're looking at trying to handle everything low impact, trying to make sure that nothing's injured or hurt. And back to your question, how do people come? Call us. I'm Ole Else, University of Montana Western, Eric Hoffman. We're both here, and give us a call, and we'll call you back, and we'll visit with you about our program because we're really proud of it.
Well, you should be. It really is an incredible program, and the students are just so fun to be around. I enjoyed them so much when I was up there. But for other people that maybe weren't as fortunate as we were growing up in the industry, getting that welcome into the industry with that kind of education is very strong. It's very beneficial, and it's a great way to get into the horse industry.
Right. The thing that's happened is very few people are teaching this,
Hmm.
and we have the opportunity to literally, well, one of the most unique experiences we had. We were out yesterday, and we were up at the Jack Hershey Ranch out in the Big Hole, and Brooke Hershey met us there. Brooke, I've known her since she was a baby, and they have a set of bucking horses. And so they're cold blooded. They're they act way different than a domesticated herd of horses. These have been raised out on a lot of ground out in the Big Hole, on a lot of country. And there's been 1 year, I think, out of this little herd of horses, I think there was 15 colts that had just been weaned. And out of that particular herd of horses, believe it or not, 1 year, 9 of them went to the national finals rodeo.
Oh my
And
goodness.
there's going to be a few of them out of there too. I know Lunatic Party will be there, that were raised from this herd. So our students have the opportunity to, compare the behavior of the bucking horses, and just to see how they how different they are as far as a herd versus a domestic herd of Hershey horses that are, and they're big boned. They're run and bred. A lot of Peppy Sam Badger, and there's Spirited Dasher, and they've got some First Down Dash. They've got some amazing bloodlines, but they've also got really heavy boned horses that can hold up to that kind of country.
Right.
And they've got good feet, good bone. And, we go visit all these ranches, and you get a chance to, see what their breeding program is, see what they're doing with it. And so great opportunity, Scott. Terrific
Absolutely.
opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. And to get to work with you too, that's going to be a special deal, I'm just saying, you and Eric and the whole team up there is just so welcoming, and it's a really great opportunity to learn and to enjoy the program and get in the industry in a big way, and a network, which is so important.
Well, thank you.
Yes,
Well,
absolutely.
we're excited you came up and got to visit with us.
Oh,
I
it
mean,
was so much
that's a
fun.
big deal to us.
Yeah. Oh, come on. It was so much fun. So let's talk about you. So all the pictures, I did my research before the show. There's this beautiful red jacket and a black hat and a cowbell at all
Yeah.
these events.
Yeah.
So where did that come from?
Well, years ago, I'm a strong faculty advisor. I was, never that great a hand or anything. I love rodeo, but I did everything I did for fun. But anyway, I ended up being the faculty advisor, and I ended up being the rodeo coach for 30 years. And
Yeah.
so I started wearing a red blazer, and I started taking a cowbell, and I'd ring my cowbell. And hence they called me Ole Bells. But that's kind of how it all came about. And I know I've had people at the college finals tell me, "Boy, we missed you." And I'd say,
Isn't that
"What do you
nice?
miss?" And they say, "We missed your cowbell." And it got to be a joke. The scoreboard, Rusty Bradbury, he'd steal my cowbell, and they tape it up, and I was a scorekeeper, so I'd have to ring the cowbell and make sure I got my score in. But in the process of doing all of that, cowbells, they're all over the place. There was a lot of them at MSU. Anybody that could steal my bell, it was a big thing. And I'm superstitious, so I had to have my cowbell.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Oh my goodness. So what's it like sitting there and watching one of your former students or somebody that you're really, really close to compete at such a high level? 'Cause-
You know, I'm so proud of him, but I think, Scott, I have always demanded that they get a degree.
Mhm.
And it's wonderful to see them compete at a high level, but I'm pretty excited when I get to see them walk across the stage at graduation.
That's awesome.
And I think that's really important. And I believe that you can compete and get a degree. And that was my goal, was to, see that they got a degree and had an opportunity to go down the road and to compete for University of Montana Western. And we just had a student this last year, Jarrett Monroe, just got inducted into our Western Hall of Fame. Wow. And he was a 2006 Saddle Barn champion. And we've got two more coming up. We've got Wyatt Smith, that rodeoed for me. I know he'll be inducted, and Taylor Nargang. And, we've had a lot of national champions. One of our very first national champions was Sean Davis, and he was general manager of the NFR for a long time. And he's a good personal friend, and he was a mentor to me, and I was pretty excited. He always made a point of giving me a call and giving me a few pointers, and so that was important too.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's so great. Yeah. So what's a story from the road, like with a rodeo team? So you're taking your team down the road. What's a funny story? Maybe something behind the scenes that people don't often get to see, because you're getting ready for all these events. You have all these university students, and there's a lot of adrenaline. A lot of excitement.
Yeah, there is a lot of adrenaline going on. I always took a van, and I traveled with the rough stock kids. Mm-hmm. And we always had the rough stock, just all of the kids in the rough stock events, they rode with me. And so over the years, being late, having flat tires, getting there right before. Bareback riders want to be there 2 hours early, and good Lord, when you have car trouble or anything like that, it really throws them. So yes, yeah. We'd have to be early. And so that was one of the biggest things is, you get there with the rough stock van, and the bull riders weren't that excited about it, but my gosh, you had to have your bareback riders there. We had hundreds of stories over the years. I'm trying to think of I think one of the worst things that probably ever happened to me, and I'm just going to tell you this. Jake Hayworth was a 2 times national champion for me from St. Anthony, Idaho. And I love Jake. He won the bareback riding in 99, turned right around, and in 2000 won the saddle barn. Wow. And you don't have a 2-eventer like that very often. And he did an interview with ESPN. And I mean, we've always kind of had a rule of thumb, Scott, that what happens in the van stays in the van. What happens on the road, it stays on the road.
Oh, no.
Well, he might have told too much in that interview, and it was all about me. And I was prowling around one night. I heard some noise, and I was absolutely positive. I was up, really thinking, if my kids are out and we've got slack at 7 o'clock in the morning, boy, so I went out there, and I probably didn't have on as much clothing as I should have had. And I got locked out of my door.
Uh-oh.
Got locked out of my room, and I had to go down in the lobby and get a key. And it wasn't my kids, but I was checking on it because I heard the noise, but it wasn't my kids. We knew we had to be there at 7 o'clock, and we were there ready to go. Oh, but it was absolutely, they told everything about me being locked outside. And I walked in on a room of kids I didn't even know. And then I looked and I thought, oh my gosh, I don't have a lot on. So that was a problem.
That was a
terrible problem. And then to have him tell the story on ESPN, I was like, oh, that kid. Once again, 2 times national champion.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh,
you don't want to go. Thank gosh it was early in the morning and there wasn't a lot of people around.
Thank goodness.
The front desk were really laughing. So, but that was one of the bad ones.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's tough. That's tough, especially being on ESPN.
Thank you for listening to the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. Scott will be right back with Oily Else. For more information on Scott Knudsen, the Cowboy Entrepreneur, visit us online at cowboyentrepreneur.com.
Hi, I'm Scott Knudsen, host of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, heard on KCAA, Wednesdays, 6 p.m. Pacific. I'd like to talk to you about something I'm very passionate about. Those that know me know I love my coffee. In the morning, afternoon, and even late in the evening, I enjoy a good cup of coffee almost any time of the day. Now, my team at the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show has been working for several months on creating and introducing our own brand of coffee. We wanted to make sure that we got it just right. We don't want to put our name on anything unless we're 100% certain that it's the best product available, and we've finally done it. We have created a wonderful line of coffees, 13 fantastic flavors offered in whole bean, ground, and K-Cups, any way you like to brew your coffee. Now, each of our coffees carries our brand, the very same brand that we put on our horses, our trailers, and our chaps. So you know that this is a quality product. And we only use 100% Arabica beans, the very best beans available. Just listen to some of these wonderful blends and flavors. Jamaican Me Crazy, Honduran San Marcos, Chocolate Cherry Amaretto, Breakfast Blend, and my very favorite, Haley's Blend. A coffee so good, we named it after my daughter. You can order these coffees today by going online to cowboyentrepreneur.shop. That's cowboyentrepreneur.shop. And if you order today, you can get an extra 10% off your final purchase just by entering the promo code COWBOY on checkout. Remember, that's promo code COWBOY for an extra 10% off. Just go to cowboyentrepreneur.shop to order your coffee today.
So what are the trophies back there? I see a couple of them. One of them matches your jacket.
Well, I have a whole office full of them.
Yeah. Plaques
I was just going to say some of the ones, well, the ones behind me, all the ones on the wall and everything, those are trophies we've won over the years. This was the 2016, 2014 Fall Rodeo Championships. We have those, but the walls are full of kids that competed at Western and went to school here. Flint Rasmussen, that's with the PBR. Flint was one of our kids. You know,
Was he?
just look at the walls. Brad Gleason was a '97 steer wrestling champion of the world. We had Ryan Mapston, who won the average at the National Finals Rodeo. So we have Jess Martin. I mean, I just sit back here, Rachel Millimack. I just look at all the kids that rodeoed here that have gone on to the finals. And that's really impressive. But one thing I do want to tell you, Scott, and I don't know if Eric talked about it, but you know, I retired from rodeo, but
Right.
The horse kids are my kids too.
Sure.
And this last year, we received a call and they said, you know, we're putting on a collegiate version of Road to the Horse, and we'd like to have you come. And I'm like, oh, summertime, you know, you've got kids out on internships, you've got kids with jobs, and they wanted us to put together a collegiate team. So Eric, it was kind of whoever picked up their phone. And so he put together a team, took them down to, we went down to Utah, down by Salt Lake, West Jordan. And our kids won the collegiate version of Road to the Horse. So
Wow.
that was a big deal for the summer. You know, I mean, we really weren't planning on it. We didn't know we were going to be doing it, and
It's
we
a
just
huge
decided,
deal.
you know, we'll go. And
That's a
we
huge
took,
deal.
yeah, we took James Ramirez, Jake Christensen, and Katie Ross. And James is from over by Manhattan, Montana. Jake's from Buffalo, Minnesota, and Katie's Elko, Nevada. So and they did very, very well.
That's just amazing that
Yeah,
you know, did so well and you put it together, but seizing that opportunity, you know, and
yeah,
that's something that I think is so important for anyone listening or watching. Just when you have that opportunity, taking it and
yeah.
making the most of it. You never know what's going to happen.
No, you don't. And we learned so much. Each of the kids, you know, they had a score sheet. They had the opportunity to, to visit with the judges, find out strengths and weaknesses. But basically, it was a 2-day event, and they started a colt. So,
Wow.
and everybody had their part, everybody, groundwork, you know, actually getting on the horse, tacking, well, first of all, tacking the horse up and all of that.
Sure.
And so that was what they did. And it was a really big event for us because we really weren't planning on going to anything like that. And all of a sudden it came about, and Eric says, what do you want to do? And we decided we're going.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that so much. And having the conference there, you took another opportunity and it just
Yeah,
made it so great, with
that's right.
and that, I think that's a lesson for anyone, whether you're in the horse industry or not, just taking that opportunity.
Well, if it's out there, sometimes you seize the moment. So there you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So back to rodeo. So the sport
Mhm.
is growing, and what do you see for the next 10 or 15 years to help it get even larger and get to more mainstream? Because it really is growing, to people that I wouldn't think would be watching it. The next day they might see the hat or the boots and they're like, hey, did you watch the rodeo last night? Or did you watch this on TV? And that's encouraging.
Well, I think one of the big things, last year, I don't think anybody thought we were going to have an NFR,
Right.
and they ended up taking it to your great state of Texas.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
Yes.
and I mean they put on a heck of an event in very short notice. And
Yes.
this year it's back in Vegas. There's a lot of COVID restrictions. You have to wear a mask. I know I've been getting all my masks out and getting ready to go.
I got you.
Um, but I honestly think that people are tired of sitting at home.
Mhm.
The one thing the whole family can do is go to a rodeo.
Right.
You take the kids and you drive them to a rodeo. And I think a lot of people are just, I know both of my boys' kids are rodeoing right now in high school, and they load up as a family and they take off and they go for the weekend. And it's kind of a family sport. And I mean, I'm concerned, Scott, because gas is so high and everything. But I think people are still going to try to work it in and get to these rodeos. And um, I think I think a lot of people are just excited to see different sports
Mhm.
and learn more about how horses are used and what people use horses for, and what kind of horses they use. So that's kind of what I can tell you.
That's awesome. That's so great.
Mhm.
I think doing the road to the horse, and I think the conference,
Yeah.
with I think those are ways to get people involved in the horse industry, and then all of a sudden it
Hmm.
spurs to the rodeo industry, and it just kind of feeds off each other.
Right. Well, I had an interesting job when Mr. Kriegel first came on board with us, and he was our benefactor and still is. Um, But when he came on board, I ended up with a rodeo team, and I ended up with a horse program. And it's not necessarily a marriage that's completely perfect, but you find out real quick your common denominator is the horse.
Absolutely.
And whether it be the bucking horse, whether it be the barrel horse, whether it be the team roping horse, whether it be the show horse. And the one thing that I've tried to stress in my years here at Western is don't criticize a discipline. Learn about it. Learn about what's involved. Learn about what happens in these disciplines. We've been lucky enough to have clinicians up here. We've had Brian Newbert. We've had Joe Walters come. We've had just really good people come up here and give these students a chance to be better horsemen.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter your discipline, you can
Right.
always learn.
Absolutely. I learn every day.
Hmm.
Every
Oh,
day.
you do.
Yeah.
And I sit back and I'll watch a class and I'll think, gosh, I didn't know that. You know, it's and you'll think, geez, well that's working.
Right.
So anyway, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I love that aspect. I love you saying that because you can learn from every discipline, and
sure you
you know,
can.
oh my goodness, there's so much to learn about the horse, and
Right,
well, we can't teach each other. The horse will teach us if we'll just listen, and that's what's
right,
so fun if you just give them enough space.
right. Well, the one thing that, like in herd behavior, William published a behavior book, and we also use a lot about the silent communication of the horse. That we've taken this horse and absolutely by force a lot of the times made them do something without really understanding how they communicate, how they think, what's best for the horse. And back in my day, because I told you I'm long in the tooth, but back in my day, people got, people made really good horses because they had wet saddle blankets. They
Right.
did a lot of riding. They rode everywhere they went. You see people now, they grab a four wheeler, they grab, a side by side. Okay. Well, the one thing that I've tried to teach our students is we're not using the horse like we used to. You have to understand the nature of the horse. We hit Dr. Miller's identified 10 characteristics of a prey animal. How does a horse see? How does it, I sit back and I think, holy cow, here's this animal that's got vision in this eye and vision in this eye, and the eyes are set back, and they're seeing something going on over here and something going on over here, and then how do they process it?
Right.
And I would be completely, Scott, if I had to process two eyes, I'd be in a heck of a shape. You know, because you look at a horse. Well, let's take like a team roping horse, a head horse.
Okay.
Well, he might be seeing, the steer. He might be seeing the healer, the healing horse over on his right hand side, and then on his left hand side, he's seeing the guy going through selling popcorn, peanuts, caramel coated snacks. It's two complete separate visions, and I think people forget, just what a forgiving animal the horse is,
Absolutely.
and yeah. Hmm.
Absolutely. That's beautiful what you said. And seeing two different things like that and then having somebody else on your back, and you're trying to perform at such a high level. So you're getting the feeling of somebody on your
Yeah,
back. You're looking at two different things. You have the crowd
right.
noise. There's a lot going on for that horse. And Dr. Miller's
Yes.
book is just fascinating to read.
Hmm.
And when you
Well,
start,
and he's one of the first people that really put that down.
yes, he is.
And we look at it. We look at you know the special senses, and we study. How does a horse see things? How did they view things? Where is their blind spot? Why would they accept something on their back when that's how a prey animal? I mean, that's how a predator's going to bring them down and eat them.
Absolutely.
Is they get on the back and you watch the lion get the zebra and he jumps on the back and there you go.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's exactly right. And they let us. It's a
Yes.
fascinating deal, and it's great you have the 4-year class, for horsemanship, and just so you can understand that you have to understand that to understand the process.
Right.
As far as
And
you're the educator, but as far as me, what I think,
well, no, I totally agree with everything you've said. I
yeah,
do. And that's why this we have a young horse start development and we have the sales prep class. But our theory on this, and I think if Eric was here with me, he'd agree 100%, is you have no idea what it takes uh, to start a horse unless you actually do it.
yes,
And so one of our capstone courses is that you will take a young horse and you will start the horse. Hence the sales prep class and young horse start development. We have that as one of our capstones. So it gives everybody a chance to see what it takes and what's involved. And sometimes it's just real easy to write the check and let somebody else do it.
Sure it is. Sure it is. But to understand a horse, once you're learning with the horse is going to teach you just as much when you're working. And each horse is different. The methods are great, but each horse has a little bit different learning. I guess kind of like students.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Very much true. I think every student that comes through the program comes out with a better understanding of how horses think, how they process. One of the hardest things that you're ever going to get a horse to do is forward motion. Well, when you really study what a prey animal is, they're going to have a bite of grass over here. They're going to have a bite of grass over there. They're going to have a bite of grass. They don't think straight line. We're a predator. We think straight line. They don't. And, the kids always go, geez, forward motion's awful. And, they'll finally get the forward motion and they get their energy up and they get things going. But, and another thing too, I think one of the things that we really try to get across is a horse never forgets anything. When I was a little kid growing up, I never realized how intelligent a horse was. I always thought, well, are they? Because you don't see any, you don't see anything from the horse actually, and they never forget a thing, good or bad. And I always tell the kids, try to make it good, don't make it bad, because they're not going to forget that. You can work them through it, but if they have a bad experience, trailer loading, or they have a bad experience, that bad experience happened. And that's something that you're going to have to work through.
That's true. Yeah, they never forget, and they shouldn't.
No.
Being a prey animal, you can't. It's life or death. So they can't forget that. Oh my goodness. So let's talk. Okay, so favorite horse. What was your favorite horse as far as your rodeo horse or being around a horse? What's one of your favorites?
Well, I have a lot of them.
Yeah, I understand.
I think one of my horses that I absolutely loved was an old mare. We called her Dolly, big old black mare. Had a white star and had a chance to use her for everything. And then she had a colt, and my daughter Kayla rode that horse all through high school into college. And Kayla's a veterinarian now, and her name is Kayla Williams in New Plymouth, Idaho. And you sit back, and it was really funny because I was talking, this mare's name was Nikki. And Nick was one of those horses that you could run poles on her, you could run barrels on her, you could go calf rope on her, you could breakaway on her, you could, team rope on her, you could do anything and everything. You could haze on this horse.
Oh my goodness.
And, my kids, now that their kids are looking at high school rodeo, they called me up and they said, we really had good horses. And I thought, we did. And we had bulldogging teams, Spiffy and Speedy, and we had some winners. And they're really hard to make, Scott. And I think I just look back at all the horses that the kids competed on. Boy, what I wouldn't give to have them back today.
Isn't that amazing? Just cherish them every day.
Yeah, and I've got 3 or 4 retirees that the kids have sent home, and I've got Uncle Bellboy, and he's been to the state high school rodeo, he's been to the national high school rodeo, he's been to the NRA finals, he's been to the circuit finals, and you sit back and you look at him, and he comes to feed, and he's got a big knee, he's got this and that and the other, and Kayla maintained him for a long time, but he just hangs out with me now, and I sit back and I look at him, and it's like, he was so good to all 3 of my kids, and you don't forget that.
No.
And you don't forget those kind of horses.
Right. Yeah, and they become part of your family. When they take care of your kids, they really do. So I know we're getting to the end of the show, but I have to ask you, so when someone's going out to look for a horse And like the horses you're talking about, how does somebody find that kind of horse? How do you, what's the best way?
Well, for us, we raised a lot of our horses,
Mm-hmm.
and you know, we did back then. But now, I would go to somebody. If I was looking for a horse, I would go to somebody that probably had something that was proven. Are you looking for a young rider or?
Just people in general always like, how do you find
Right.
that perfect family horse? Do you go to someone you're networked with, or do you go to a breeder? Do you try and breed your own? Well, some people can't. They're going to buy one horse that suits
Yeah.
the husband, the wife, and the child,
Yeah.
from grades to the
Well,
master.
we always call it telemoccasin, but I would, by word of mouth, put the word out that what you're looking for.
Hmm.
I mean, I'll get a call once, 2 or 3 or 4 times a month. Do you know where there's a good breakaway horse? And a lot of times you'll see students that you've had maybe in college that maybe they're not um, breakaway roping right now, but you can team rope on the horse. You can break away on the horse. The horse is a little older, but the horse is sound, and the horse is proven. And when somebody will call me and say, they're looking for something to learn on, or they're looking for, I go to people I know,
Hmm.
and maybe if 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 there's somebody that I know and trust real well, they'll call me and say, I know there's a pretty good horse here, and like I said, kind of word of mouth. There's a lot of people that do trade, and a lot of them very reputable. But I'll send a feeler out, and you know, a lot of times, the right horse will come around.
Right.
But a good horse, a really good horse, especially a family horse like that, um, they're hard to find. They
They
really
are.
are hard to find. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They sure are. And it takes a lifetime to get them to that perfect spot. And then, you
Oh,
know, and just like us, so they learn every day, and when they get to that level, they don't leave the ranch, for our ranch for sure. We keep, just like yours,
right.
we want to
Yeah.
keep them. So what advice, so we'll leave with this, what advice do you have for somebody that is trying to get in the industry?
Um, if you're trying to get in the industry, the one thing that I've found, Scott, and I think this is really important, a degree matters.
Hmm.
And I've talked to a lot of people that, whether you're in a direct job in the industry, whether it's an indirect job, a lot of people want to know that you're educated, and that you're educated on how to feed, on how to buy hay, all of the basics of managing the industry. Um, and I honestly think if I was to tell somebody, I would tell them, find a good program. I like ours, by the way.
Yes,
Find a
sure.
good program, and come and get a good background, so you understand nutrition, that you understand animal anatomy, you understand, oh geez, you understand feet, you understand, your two most important relationships for anybody is a veterinarian and a farrier. And if
Mhm.
you're going to have horses, those are things that you have to have. Have a good relationship with both. And I tell all the students, make sure you have a good relationship with your farrier and your vet. But if I was to give advice, I would just say, you know, make sure that you get a good background. You need a background in nutrition. You need a background in anatomy. Make sure you have a good relationship with the farrier, and make sure that you have a good relationship with the veterinarian, and that you're on a good health regime.
Right. It's a team, isn't it? It's a full team
Yes, it
to
is.
support
It
that
is.
horse.
Horses are
Absolutely.
not cheap, Scott.
No, no, they're not. They're not. And you need a team to
Yeah.
help support that horse to get where you need to go, for sure.
Right. Right.
For sure. Well, Oli, it's been such a pleasure having you on the show today. And you're such an inspiration. And that's kind of why we started. It is why we started the show, for inspirational people, people to educate, and you do both. And it was such a pleasure to meet you and Dylan. And thank you so much for being on our show.
Well, thank you, Scott, and thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you so much, Ellie. You have a great day, and thank you again.
All right, you take care, Scott. Thank you.
Yes, bye.
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 Thank you to all the great sponsors of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show. For more information about today's guest, Oily Else, please visit online, equusonsite.org.com. If you or your business is interested in being a sponsor of the Cowboy Entrepreneur Show, please call our office at 830-992-1786 or visit our website, umwestern.edu.
You're on board KCAA's Inland Talk.